Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wingcat Sports. It's our Lions pregame. They're facing the Buccaneers again on Sunday at 3 p.m. in the divisional round. They won their first playoff game, and now they're facing a familiar opponent.
Yep. Yeah, like I said, this is I kind of wanted this. I really like Baker Mayfield, so I'm a fan of his, and I'm looking forward to the matchup. I think it's going to be a really fun game to watch. Tampa has a really good defense. Well, I mean, I think they have a really good defense. So we got to stop them from putting pressure on Jared Goff. Our last matchup was pretty. It wasn't that it wasn't a blowout, 20-6 in Tampa. Our defense played really well. So let's hope that happens again this time.
Roughly, you were missing some players. You are favored by 6.5. Have a 62% chance to win, which I'm not surprised. The Lions are a better team than the Bucs, but I don't think they should take them lightly. They're just like the Rams. They're hot. They have won a lot in a row. I believe they're like on the same streak. They've at least won 4 out of their last 5 games. So they're on a streak. They're hot.
Yep.
For anyone a reminder of how last game was against them, the Lions won 20-6 down in Tampa Bay. Baker Mayfield didn't have the worst possible day against us. He did throw for 205 yards and a TD. Oh, no TDs and an interception. It was sacked once. Jared Goff had a good day that day, though. He threw for 353, had 2 DDs, but was sacked 3 times.
I think it was the best game of the year for him, stat-wise. No, I mean, yeah, they're going to be bringing some pressure on Jared Goff. This is not going to be an easy game at all. And like I said, Baker Mayfield's a wild card. He's like pit bull out there, and you're going to have to contain him because he's going to come at you and give you everything he's got. He's the kind of player I kind of, before Jared Goff came here, I was hoping would go along well with Dan Campbell. I've just always been a fan of his. Very tough guy. I think, like I said, he, like Harold was mentioning, we get a lot of players back that we didn't have the last time we played against them.
Yes, you're going to have Gibbs back. CJ will be back.
I mean, it is pretty incredible we're at this point talking like this, and we could be hosting an NFC Championship game if things fall the right way.
Yes, you could be. I don't know if you actually will, and that will be in our playoff video, but you have a chance to hold an NFC Championship game, have 3 straight home playoff games, and if that situation does happen, I say a very good chance to be in the Super Bowl, which is weird to say. Right. But they have their opportunity. It's going to be a good game. I expect it to be relatively the same as the Rams game was. It's not going to be a blowout. It's probably going to be close again. I don't know how close. I don't think probably as close as the Rams game was, but I expect a close game.
This is the playoffs, and it's always kind of funny is that sometimes you listen to these fans and stuff and read comments and these on these podcasts and things, and you have fans think we're going to win 42-10. It's like the playoffs are nuts, and if nothing convinced you, it was that Green Bay game should have convinced you.
Yeah,
anything can happen. We can lose this weekend. Tampa Bay is very capable of beating us, but we should win. I think most people feel that we should win. And I think if our offensive line plays and protects Jared, like anything else, that's the key to our success. So let's see what happens.
I think defensively, you still got to keep that run game in check. I mean, they still have Mike Evans. He had 13 TDs and almost 1,300 receiving yards. Baker Mayfield himself threw over 4,000 yards and had 28 TDs this year. So he was doing well too.
Yes.
And I'm not saying take the Bucs lightly. Like, obviously, you are favored. You should beat the Bucs.
Yeah.
Just like you beat them in the regular season. Like, this, out of all the teams to face in the second round, this was the one I was okay, probably the most okay playing. Like, I know every team.
I don't know if you feel. I feel the LA Rams are a better team than either Tampa Bay or Philadelphia was.
Yes, the LA Rams were.
I think on paper at least. But like I said, you have a team that a lot like what we saw with the pack. These guys have nothing to lose, and they're going to come at us with everything they got, and they're tough, good defense. So it's going to be a fun game.
And
I think it's going to be a really close game.
And that's the other thing. The only thing that worries me is you're playing the team twice. Right? The Lions so far this year have not played well against every single team that played them a second time. Because they lost to Chicago the second time. True. They lost to Green Bay the second time. And Minnesota, you beat them the second time, but you weren't really trying. So, I mean, at the same time, you would have beaten Minnesota handily either way. But this is a good team right now, and they already played you once. They know what they did well. They know what they have to work on. And so do you. I think you're going to have your offensive weapon that would have helped do a lot more in Tampa in Gibbs with that run game. He's going to expand the run game. And then CJ might be helpful in the backfield. He already did make some big plays in the playoffs against the Rams. He's going to be helpful in that secondary. Anzalone seems to be fine. You're going to have Khalif Raymond back for your punt returns and as another wide receiver threat. He should be good and ready to go, I believe, for the game. It's early in the week, so I don't know what the updates are. But again, ESPN is telling me he'll be back by the 21st. So I think he's going to be back. And really the only person you're missing who played is Jerry Jacobs.
Right.
Who might have made somewhat of an impact, and he wasn't playing well throughout most of the year anyways.
Well, I mean, like I said, I think we're having a lot of players come back that didn't play last time. And these are impact guys for us that we didn't get to use last time. Should be an advantage for us.
Both teams are going into the game healthy for the most part. Because Tampa has no injuries on their injury report. Khalif Raymond comes back. The only two guys on our injury report are James Mitchell, who barely did anything this year, as much as he is somewhat of a reliable tight end here and there just to get the basics done. But he didn't really do much because Brock Wright usually played over him. And then you got Jerry Jacobs, who had his 3 games of success and then fell off the face of the earth.
Right. So, I mean, we're going to have to – they certainly are – we know at this point in the season what our problems are. We have to find a way to play better, passing defense. Our backfield is not very good or hasn't been playing very good. But they seem to, even though when we say that, it's kind of like I said, I go, God, watching that LA Ram game, I thought, God, our defense stinks.
Except for the red zone.
But at the same time, they only gave up 23 points. That is not bad.
And only because of the red zone. I will say that, the red zone.
And they've done that a few times.
It should have been way more points.
Right. They did it against Dallas. They gave up only 20 points to Dallas. So, I mean,
if the defense plays the way that they've been playing, those last few, besides the games against Nick Mullins, then you're going to win the game easily. Baker Mayfield is not as good as Stafford, as good as Prescott.
But he has intangibles. I'll say that much.
But again, you go look and you gave up 400 yards to Nick Mullins almost twice. But also Nick Mullins threw the ball 40 times that game. So it didn't even matter anyways because they weren't rushing the ball. They have a rushing attack. Baker Mayfield isn't going to throw for 400 yards on you because they have a more even game.
And he will run. He will.
But Baker Mayfield will run. But I'm saying, like, in general, there is going to be a run game with their running backs. It's not like they're going to stop. And if you stop the run, then you're going to force them to throw. And again, he's not a Matt Stafford. He's not a Dak Prescott. He's not somebody we're going to worry about as much.
When I watched the Philly game, I thought he threw the ball extremely well. And his receivers dropped some passes.
He is a good quarterback.
He's got a good, strong arm. And when he's on his game, he's one of those guys you're just like, you don't think much of him, and then you go, what the hell, man?
So
he can lighten us up.
He is 9th this year in yards, 7th in touchdowns, 18th in QBR. So, I mean, he has played well.
Yeah, he has.
He has played very well. He bet on himself. I hope that Tampa keeps him because I think he did prove himself worthy of staying in Tampa. I think Tampa has their QB.
How tough do you got to be to take over for Tom Brady to go? I mean, that is not a thankful assignment there. And he just said, F it. I'm doing it. I'm playing my butt off. and he's got them to the playoffs. He won their division.
Like I said, I expect him.
I
If Tampa don't keep him, that's a problem because he bet on himself.
I think they're crazy. If he's healthy, I think he is certainly right there around the top, around 10, top 10.
He has played top 10 material this year. He is tied up there and around that 8th spot, surprisingly. He probably puts him more like 12th because of the QBR. But he is within that top 10 in the year so far. But like I said, you say the same thing with Jared Goff. Jared Goff is 2nd in yards, 3rd and 4th in TDs, and 11th in QBR. He has played up in that top 5 category to where a lot of people, right, don't appreciate him as much. Obviously, the playoff game showed that the city has grown on him. There's still some people out there who say that we need to move on. He isn't as good as he is. But, I mean, Jared Goff himself has earned himself his contract.
Right. That's a decision for Brad Holmes. If they, like I said, we've been saying that all year. None of us has a clue how good Hooker looks or what, or if they think he can just walk in and play quarterback for us. Because whether we like it or not, it's about money. It's about, spending the money in the right places. And that's up to them. That's not up to us. So we can sit there. We're not going to be able to re-sign everybody. But, we're talking about this game coming up. So I think, like I said, for me, I see the game being around 31-24.
I was going to do 28-24.
Wow. You think it's going to be closer?
28-24, 21-28. I think the Lions will get at least 4 touchdowns. Whether or not Baker, I think they're going to show up, but I don't think it's going to be, like I said, I think it's going to be almost like another Rams game. Just you're going to get yourself a little ahead because the Tampa Bay's defense is not as good as the Rams defense, in my opinion. I don't think. I mean, they held the Eagles to 9 points, but the Eagles have been struggling. We're a hot team right now. We're back onto our track. You got Tampa's a hot team. Our defense is getting slightly better every single week, even though third down wise they suck. They're good on first and second down. You get the third down, they suck. Get to the red zone, they're good. Right. So if they can fix their third down problems, it'll be an easier win, but we'll see what ends up happening. But I do think the Lions will win. We will get a championship game. And then
it'll be interesting. I do want to mention one thing that hasn't been mentioned. I haven't heard any other people talk about it, and we wouldn't have won the game without it, is that our much maligned kicker, Michael Badgley, who a lot of people don't like, made a monster kick.
54 yards.
Monster kick. So I just want to say good job, Mike. And keep it up. We're going to need it for the rest of the playoffs. That was, like I said, that was without it, we don't win the game.
That was the game. That was the game. That one field goal, that long one that everyone was worried about, he made it. And it might come down to that again. He might have to make a kick.
I certainly think.
But I honestly think, right, I don't know how often Baker Mayfield has had to play in that kind of playoff loud environment. But that was one thing to be in.
You were there.
Sunday.
I've heard more people say that was in their estimate of any sporting event in this area. That was the most electric sporting event of the last 40 years.
And it's going to be bigger next week because you have a chance.
Bigger than when the Wings
and it was loud.
Cup.
It was loud. I will say that. It was very loud there. And I don't know. We caught, and that's another thing that I did mention. The 2 used timeouts because they were on track. Saved the game too. If they had all 3 at the end of that game,
Detroit fans.
Then that might have been a different story. But that crowd noise might play a big factor too. And they were on it, right? There's people who are probably going to the same game this week that were there last week that know what's going to happen, know what they got to do. Just keep it up. Keep doing what you're doing.
Are we wearing the funky helmets this week? I hope so.
What? Not yet. We don't know yet. But I want the all blue again. Keep the all blue going. You win an all blue. Keep the all blue going. That's what I want. But with all that being said, if you like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, share the video around. Let me know what you think about the game down in the comments. And until next time, hope to see everybody soon.